It is 2 o'clock in the morning. You are standing in the kitchen with the cold light of the open refrigerator hitting your face. You are not even hungry in the traditional sense. You are possessed, your brain is screaming for something sweet, something processed, something that you promised yourself you would not touch this week. You worked out for an hour today, you hit your protein goals. You have been disciplined for 5 days straight, but right now none of that matters. The logic is gone. Your long-term goals are a distant memory. There is only the craving. You find the chocolate or the leftover dessert. You eat it standing up in the dark. In that moment, it feels like a relief, but 10 minutes later, the shame sets in. You tell yourself that you are weak. You tell yourself that you just do not have the discipline that other people have. You think that you are the problem. You are convinced that your lack of willpower is the only thing standing between you and the body you want. I am Zara. I am a medical researcher and behavioral weight loss analyst. I am here to tell you that you are wrong about yourself. You are not weak. You are not a failure, and that midnight raid was not a lack of character. It was a biological hijack. We have been lied to about how weight loss works. We are told it is a simple math equation of calories in versus calories out. We are told that if you just wanted it enough, you would stop eating the junk, but that ignores the most powerful force in your body. Deep inside your gut, there is an ecosystem of trillions of microbes that have their own agenda. They are not just sitting there, they are actively manipulating your brain to get what they want. Your cravings are not coming from you, they are coming from them. They have a direct line to your nervous system, and they know exactly which buttons to push to make you walk to that fridge. You are not losing a battle of willpower. You are losing a battle of biology. Today we are going to expose the truth about how your gut microbes control your mind, and how you can finally break the cycle. It is time to stop blaming yourself and start understanding the science of the takeover. Most people wake up on Monday morning and decide that this is the week they will finally be disciplined. You throw out the sugar. You stock the refrigerator with kale and lean protein. You tell yourself that if you just try harder, you will succeed. But by Thursday afternoon, something shifts. Your brain feels foggy. Your patience is thin. And suddenly, you find yourself staring at the bottom of a bag of chips, wondering where your self-control went. You call it a lack of discipline. You call yourself weak. I am here to tell you that you are wrong. This is the restrict and binge cycle, and it is a physiological trap. When you deprive your body of essential nutrients and calories in the name of a quick fix, you trigger a cascade of stress hormones. Your cortisol levels spike. Your blood sugar fluctuates wildly. This creates a specific, acidic, and high-sugar environment in your digestive tract. This is not just about calories, it is about the terrain. In this stressed environment, beneficial bacteria like bifidobacterium begin to die off because they cannot survive the chemical chaos. In their place, opportunistic pathogens and sugar-loving microbes like protobacteria begin to thrive. These are the weeds of your internal garden. They do not care about your fitness goals or your health. They care about one thing: survival. And to survive, they need you to eat more sugar and processed carbohydrates. They achieve this by hijacking your vagus nerve, which is the direct communication line between your gut and your brain. They release chemical signals that mimic your own hunger hormones, forcing your brain to crave the very foods that keep them alive. You think it is your choice to reach for that cookie, but it is often a command from a microscopic army that has taken up residence in your gut. You are not failing a test of character. You are experiencing a biological takeover. We have to stop treating this as a moral issue and start treating it as a medical one. You are not broken. You are simply out of balance. To understand how this takeover happens, we have to look at the vagus nerve. Think of this nerve as a massive information superhighway that connects your brain directly to your digestive system. It is the longest nerve in your body, and it is responsible for 80% of the communication flowing upward from your gut to your brain. This is the gut-brain axis. It is not just a theory, it is a biological reality that governs your every move. Inside your intestines, you have trillions of microbes. Most of them are helpful, But when you are out of balance, specific opportunists like Candida and Prevotella begin to dominate the landscape. These organisms are not passive passengers. They are active manipulators. They require specific fuels to survive and multiply. Candida thrives on sugar. Prevotella loves simple carbohydrates. When they are hungry, they do not wait for you to decide what to eat. They hijack the vagus nerve to send a signal to your brain that says feed us now. They do this through a process called molecular mimicry. These microbes have evolved the ability to produce neurochemicals that are identical to the ones your own body uses to regulate mood and behavior. Research shows that certain gut bacteria produce up to 95% of your serotonin and 50% of your dopamine. When you are low on sugar, these microbes can halt the flow of these feel-good chemicals. They make you feel anxious, irritable, and depressed. Then, the moment you eat that processed carbohydrate, they flood your system with a hit of dopamine. You think you are experiencing a moment of weakness or a lack of willpower. You are not. You are experiencing a chemical reward system that has been rewired by a foreign entity. You are literally being drugged by your own microbiome. They are the ones pulling the levers. They are the ones making you crave that donut at 3 in the afternoon. Until you understand that your cravings are a physiological signal sent by an overgrown population of bacteria, you will continue to fight a losing battle against your own biology. This is not about your soul. This is about your systems. Let us look at the primary gatekeeper of your metabolic health. It is a bacterium called Akkermansia mucinifila. You have likely never heard of it, but it is currently deciding whether you store that lunch as body fat or burn it as fuel. This specific microbe lives in the mucosal layer of your gut lining. It does not just sit there. It grazes on the mucus, which sounds counterproductive, but this process actually triggers your body to produce a thicker, more resilient barrier. Think of this barrier as the security fence for your entire metabolism. When your population of Akkermansia is high, your gut barrier is impenetrable. When that population drops because of a poor diet or chronic stress, the fence falls down. This leads to a condition called metabolic endotoxemia. Small fragments of bacteria leak into your bloodstream, triggering a state of perpetual low-grade inflammation. This is why you feel puffy. This is why your joints ache. Most importantly, this is why your cells stop responding to insulin. When you are inflamed, your body is in survival mode. It does not matter how many calories you cut. If your internal environment is screaming that there is an invasion, your system will prioritize fat storage to ensure you have enough energy to fight the perceived threat. You are not fighting a lack of willpower. You are fighting a structural failure of your gut lining. This is where short-chain fatty acids, or CFAS, come into play. When you feed the right bacteria, they produce a byproduct called butyrate. Butyrate is a metabolic miracle. It travels to your liver and your adipose tissue, acting as a chemical master switch. It tells your body to shut down the fat storage pathways and turn on the fat oxidation pathways. It improves your insulin sensitivity from the inside out. Without enough butyrate, your metabolism is essentially locked. You can run on a treadmill for hours, but if your gut diversity is low and your inflammation is high, your body will refuse to let go of its reserves. You must fix the gatekeepers before you can change the outcome. To fix the gatekeepers, you must follow a 3-step protocol that is grounded in clinical data, not marketing fluff. The first step is the 30-plant rule. This is not about becoming a vegan. It is about biological variety. The American Gut Project proved that people who consume more than 30 different species of plants per week have a significantly more diverse microbiome than those who stick to the same 10 foods. Every unique plant contains specific fibers that feed specific strains of bacteria. If you eat the same chicken and broccoli every single day, you are essentially starving 90% of your internal army. You must expand. Use different herbs, seeds, and colorful vegetables. This is the structural foundation of a healthy metabolism. The second step is the tactical use of polyphenols to starve the microbes that drive your cravings. Polyphenols are the defense chemicals found in dark berries, extra virgin olive oil, and high-quality cocoa. These compounds are powerful. They do not just feed the good bacteria, they are actively toxic to the pathogenic strains that hijack your brain and demand sugar. When you flood your gut with these compounds, you are conducting a targeted strike. You are making your internal environment hostile for the bacteria that want to keep you inflamed and overweight. The final step is the strategic reseeding of your ecosystem through fermented foods. You cannot simply take a probiotic pill and expect a miracle. You need to introduce live, active cultures through foods like kimchi, kefir, and unpasteurized sauerkraut. These foods provide a constant stream of beneficial organisms that help your native bacteria thrive. It is about consistency and frequency. Adding a small serving of fermented vegetables to your lunch and dinner will do more for your hormonal balance than any fat burner on the market. This is not a diet. This is a total biological recalibration. You are changing the very signals that dictate how your body stores energy. If you want to see real change, you must stop fighting your biology and start rebuilding it from the ground up. That rebuilding process begins with a period of intense biological friction. We call this the 21-day transition. You need to understand that your current gut microbiome is not a passive bystander. It is a living, breathing ecosystem that has been optimized to thrive on the very foods that are making you sick and holding on to body fat. When you stop feeding those specific bacterial strains their preferred fuel, they do not just disappear quietly, they fight back. This is the die-off effect. As these sugar-dependent populations begin to starve and diminish, they release metabolic byproducts and signaling molecules that travel directly to your brain via the vagus nerve. This is not a lack of willpower. This is a biological hijack. Your brain will interpret these signals as intense, urgent cravings for processed carbohydrates and sugar. It is the literal death rattle of the organisms that have been sabotaging your health. You will feel irritable. You might feel a temporary dip in energy. You might even experience what feels like a mild flu. You must recognize this for what it is. It is a sign of success. If you are feeling that desperate pull toward your old habits, it means the bad actors in your gut are finally losing their grip. Most people fail here because they mistake this discomfort for a sign that their new protocol is not working. They think their body needs the sugar. It does not. Your microbiome is simply throwing a chemical temper tantrum. To navigate these 3 weeks, you must adopt a clinical detachment from your own impulses. When a craving hits, you need to tell yourself that those are not your thoughts. Those are the demands of a dying bacterial colony. You are the commander of this vessel, not the passengers. If you give in now, you are not just having a snack. You are repopulating the very enemy you are trying to defeat. You are resetting the clock. Stay the course for 21 days. By the end of this window, the signaling will shift. The cravings will subside because the organisms demanding them are gone. You are not just changing what you eat. You are changing who is in control. I want you to sit with that thought for a moment. Most people approach their bodies like a battlefield. They see body fat as an invader and hunger as a personal failure. But the truth is far more nuanced and far more beautiful. You are not a soldier in a war. You are a gardener tending to a complex, living landscape. If your garden is overgrown with weeds, you do not blame the soil. You do not shout at the dirt. You change the environment that allowed those weeds to flourish in the first place. When you stop feeding the pathogenic bacteria that drive your worst impulses, you are performing a biological intervention. You are choosing which life forms get to survive inside of your gut. This is exactly why the first few weeks are so incredibly difficult. The old guard is fighting for survival. Those organisms are sending chemical signals to your brain, demanding the sugar and processed fats they need to survive. They are trying to convince you that you are the one who wants those things. But you must realize that those intrusive thoughts are often not your own. They are the desperate cries of an ecosystem that is being forced to evolve. This shift requires a level of discipline that goes beyond simple willpower. It requires a deep clinical understanding of your own physiology. You cannot hate yourself into a body that you love. You cannot punish yourself into a state of health. You must foster a genuine partnership with your biology. When you provide the right fiber, the right micronutrients, and the right environment, your internal allies will begin to work for you instead of against you. They will regulate your mood. They will stabilize your energy. They will make the process of fat loss feel like a natural byproduct of health rather than a grueling, endless chore. I am asking you to stop fighting yourself and start leading yourself. I want to hear about your progress in the comments below. Have you noticed a shift in your cravings after changing your inputs? Have you felt that specific moment where the biological noise in your head finally goes quiet? Share your journey toward microbial balance with us. We are building a community of people who value evidence over trends and long-term health over temporary fixes. Stay disciplined, stay curious, and remember that you are the sole architect of your own internal world. I am Zara, and I will see you in the next deep dive.